Hello, welcome back to my garden. Recently I did a video about cleaning out my greenhouse and getting it ready for winter, and one of the things I said I was going to do was replace the hardware cloth on the bench on this side and then put slats in. Well, as you can see, I've done that. I was gonna kind of show you guys what I was doing, but well, the microphone was dead and I needed to charge it up, and I came out here and I just started cutting and nailing and it's all done. But I did want to talk a little today about staging, because it is kind of important for a greenhouse. You could just put all your plants on the floor, but that's an awful waste of space. When I bought this greenhouse, I did a bunch of research into what to put into it. And I even thought about the depth of the tables or the benches or the staging, whatever you want to call it, that I was going to put in here. Now this greenhouse is 8 feet wide. From the corner to the door frame is about 33 inches, 34 inches. And I had thought to myself, well, I could build myself something that deep, but then I'm reaching further in, and I didn't really want to do that. So I decided to make and or buy a 2-foot deep bench. And this is nothing more than pressure treated, and I opted for pressure treated 2x4s. And then I covered the top with hardware cloth. And the reason I did that was I was thinking about watering plants and where's all that excess water going to go. So I opted for the hardware cloth solution. Now, many of you may already watch Laura from Garden Answer, and in her greenhouses, that's what she has. And I remember watching an early episode, her and her husband Aaron there were talking about what a pain it was to get the hardware cloth really tight on top. If you don't get the hardware cloth really tight on top, what can happen is you'll get little bows and dips in between your supporting struts, which was what was happening to me. Then what happens is your pots all sort of tilt in or tilt to one side, and just when you water, you're only watering one half of maybe a tray because the other half isn't getting enough water. It's just, it becomes a hassle and a pain. So I was looking on Instagram last year for kind of a solution to this, and I'd seen like something like this before, but what really clicked in my brain was I was looking at Darren Lakin, I believe his name is. He's on Instagram, he's on Twitter, I believe, and he has a beautiful greenhouse, very aesthetically pleasing. He does gardening. Either way, he has a bench with slats on top. And I was always hesitant because now water gets onto the slats, starts rotting the wood over time, and then your pots and stuff fall right through when the wood's rotted, and or you have to replace it on a regular schedule, which is a real pain. But what he was doing, and it got my brain thinking last year, was he was putting all sorts of various metal trays on top and then putting his plants inside those metal trays. This way the trays catch the excess water. Eventually the plants, if they need the water, can draw up from that. If you don't want to water your seedlings directly or your pots directly for whatever reasons, you can put water into the tray and the plants draw that up from inside that tray, which I thought was brilliant. So it protects the wood as well. In regards to trays, one of the things I did last year, and I tried this out as a experiment, was I bought a full-size baking sheet from Amazon. I got it for like 14 bucks or something. The depth on that is 26 inches, which is fine because I have a couple of inches of play here between the glass and the front, and if it overhangs the front a little bit, it's fine. 18 inches wide. So it covers the whole surface, and I can put all sorts of stuff inside of it. And it worked for me last year. And this year, Amazon just had a Prime Day or whatever, and I found, for again, like 14 bucks a pop, a 6-pack of some horrible, cheap, Chinese-made baking trays. I'm not going to use them for cooking. They're going to be used here in the greenhouse. So I picked myself up that, and I'm hoping that maybe come Black Friday, then I can find myself another really sweet deal. So this wood top here is made out of the cheapest possible wood I could find, which is furring strips. It's ugly on one side. I was going to use pallet board, but I didn't have enough pallet boards I would have enough pallet boards to do about here. Good usable pallet boards. And I have a bunch of pallets, but unfortunately, many of them are rotted, have horrible cracks through the boards, things like that. So I decided to get the furring strips, and the furring strips, again, the cheapest possible wood that you can possibly find. Put the pretty side up, the ugly side is down, it's fine. And again, the metal sheets are going to go on top, so it'll help protect the surfaces. So when I have a tray on here, with plants in there, seed tray, potted plant, whatever. It's going to be flat, so when I water it, water's not going to run to the left, it's not going to run to the right, back, front. It's going to go right where it needs to go. But you don't have to do this. So again, if you're considering building staging tables, benches, etc. for your greenhouse, or maybe a possible greenhouse you're thinking about getting in the future, then there's many different options. Another option I was considering doing, it actually would have been more expensive than doing this, but it's a very nice option, is the plastic coated wire shelving that you would get for a closet. And I found a picture on Pinterest, many years ago, and I saw how they set it up and I thought, that's great. You can water your stuff. If it overflows or excess runs out of the bottom, it's the wire shelving is plastic coated, so it's going to be fine. It's not going to rust or rot on you, and it'll provide a flat, strong surface, which is really what you want. So that's another option. Another option I thought of just recently when I was shopping for the full-size baking trays is they have perforated baking trays. I didn't know this. I had no clue. So they're perforated baking trays. So theoretically, you could stage a bunch of these perforated baking trays right across. So if you're doing something like this, where it's 2 foot deep, and you get yourself those full-size ones, you could put them right on top of a frame like this, and you don't need to screw them down. You can screw them down if you want, but you don't need to screw them down. And excess water, etc., will drain right through onto your greenhouse floor. So that's another option, which is pretty neat. And if you could find yourself a really good deal on those perforated baking sheets, I thought about that, but I'd already ordered the wood. So there's also different options you could buy retail-wise. I was looking on, I think it's Rhino Greenhouses. Rhino Greenhouse is a UK-based company, but they have a US branch now, and they do sell their greenhouses through Greenhouse Megastore. And they offer, at least on the site, they offer various benches, and they come in various metal benches. So me long term, if I hit the lotto, I think I'd love to replace these with those nice metal benches. Also, with their greenhouses, they offer shelving that can be built right into the side of the greenhouse. Because the way this greenhouse is constructed, I could do theoretically the same thing, but in my brain, I didn't want to take the chance of putting 50 to 100 pounds of plant material on a shelf that's bolted kind of into the wall. That's going to add extra stress to the greenhouse wall. Maybe the greenhouse wall would support it, but I really didn't want to do that. But again, depending upon what you buy, whether it's this greenhouse, and I had somebody ask me in the last video, that I did on the greenhouses, what this greenhouse. This is BC Greenhouses. I did a bunch of videos, and I think I have a playlist available. So if you want, you can go look that up. But this is from BC Greenhouses. It's in Canada. Good greenhouse. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. There's some things I don't like about it. And if I was going to buy a greenhouse today, I think I would go with the Rhino Greenhouses because they address some of the issues that I have with this greenhouse. There's pros and cons to everything, and this is not a bad greenhouse at all. But if I was going to pick a greenhouse today, I think it would be the Rhino Greenhouses. The other thing I think I may do to the wood shelving, if I do keep it long term, which at this point I think I'm going to, and this will happen maybe next year or the year after, clean up the whole thing, do a little sanding, whatever I have to do, and then I'll paint the whole thing white, and I think that'll look really nice in here. Maybe I'll do a dark green like this. I'm not sure, but I think the white may look a little nicer. But that's going to be a project for another day. And right now, I'm quite happy and satisfied with what I have going on right now. And I think this is going to be I hope this is going to be a huge improvement. Only time will tell. There are a lot of different options out there for staging or for benches or tables, whatever you want to call them, out there for your greenhouse. You just have to decide what's best for you. Do you want to do something like a DIY with hardware cloth? Do you want to do something with slats? Maybe you are a woodworker and maybe you want to do something a little fancier. You could do moldings, you could do spindle legs. You could do spindle legs and make it really elaborate and pretty. The other thing that if you're really good with the Facebook Marketplace, and I know some of you out there probably are, I know a few people who really are, you could go out on Facebook Marketplace and do searches and maybe find benches or tables that people have already done, completed. The only limiting factor I would say out of anything is your budget. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video, because you never know what I'm going to get up to around the garden. Now that the staging is complete and the cooler temperatures are arriving, probably in the next less than a month, maybe a month, we'll see how the temperatures go. But I'm going to start bringing plants in here and storing them in here for the winter time. Geraniums, salvias, agapanthus, hostas, all sorts of things. You can see how I stage them, where I stage them, whether it be on the floor or up on the bench, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if you have any hints, tips, or advice for me, please let me know. Also, please share, because there's other people who may be watching this channel who want to hear what you're doing. So if you do something similar and or different, please leave a comment. And with all that being said, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.